if you're lactose intolerant, you can't watch this movie because it's got so much cheese.
Sorry, yeah, I gotta go. You guys can do this on your own now.
Nope, end it there. You agree 100%. I'm right.
Boys, welcome. It's been a little bit since I saw you last.
True.
How are you?
Good. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. You know, living the dream. I'm trying to hide my room because there's, like, all this shit everywhere because, you know, I'm leaving
Because you
soon.
like to shit everywhere?
Yeah, exactly. I just shit all over the place. I did watch this movie. Surprise, surprise.
Nice.
Finally.
That's good.
It's the whole point of the podcast, so thank you.
Yeah, that would be. It's your movie, so. Yeah.
Well, what did we watch this week, boys? Beckett?
That's the movie.
Beckett. Beckett is a 2021 action thriller film directed by Ferdinando Cito Filomarino. The film stars John David Washington as an American tourist vacationing in Greece who becomes the target of a manhunt after an accident and must reach the embassy to clear his name. Boyd Holbrook, Vicky Krieps, and Alicia Vikander also star. Yeah, so Netflix original, right? It was Netflix?
Yeah, it was Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I wonder if this had to be filmed a while ago, right? Like, because there was something in the movie, and I think I forgot to write it down, and I was like, was this filmed, like, oh, you know what it was? And I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but there was a picture of Obama in an embassy.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So was this filmed, like, 5 years ago? Or take place 5 years ago?
I think it was intentionally set like a couple years ago,
okay.
like during Obama's term, because like it was shot in a way that like, and we could talk about this later, but the actual like the lens they're using or the filter they put over the entire movie looked like an older, you know, more kind of granular video quality, you know.
I didn't
know
even
we're
notice
not
that.
Getting into spoilers right away, and it's not really a spoiler, but I just thought that was a weird choice all in all, because it really does, it dates the movie without it actually being the accurate date. So
And to an insignificant, I mean, I guess, like, I don't know, Greece is always kind of in, like, weird shape, right? Like, there's always stuff like this going on in Greece, like, aren't they, it's pretty unsettled over there, but maybe it was, like, worse during that time, and that's kind of what they're talking about?
I think that was worse, because that's when they officially declared bankruptcy, like, as a country. But
I declare bankrupt.
Should we put in that clip of Michael declaring bankruptcy?
Yeah. But I don't think, like, it just seemed very weird. I didn't think it needed it. I thought it was kind of, like, very jarring. But
yeah,
we could say that.
We can definitely talk about that later. We're off track here, so as the host, let me get us back on track. First reactions, our favorite. This is my favorite part of the show. Joe, let's kick it over to you first. First reactions for this movie?
Okay. My very first reactions were that this relationship couple felt very forced and cheesy. They said, like, oh, a love attack is coming, ha ha ha. Like, it was very, like, cheesy, giggly romance, and I didn't like it. So my thought was that maybe that, I knew that this was about, like, a conspiracy, so I was like, oh, maybe they're a CIA couple, like, just trying to do something here and, like, pretend and be, like, bad actors. But it wasn't, and it was just awkward.
I also wrote that down, Joe. The love attack line, I wrote boo next
That was my
to
first note.
Me too.
Yeah. But again, no spoilers, but that wasn't part of the plot, so that's just what I thought was going to be. I was wrong, and it was well shot. The acting was pretty good. I wouldn't say great, nothing special, nothing like terrible to watch, but I don't know, the plot was just nothing unique to me, and it never grabbed me as much as I thought it was going to.
I agree. Like, I think it was one of those instances where it was like the plot or the good acting can't save bad writing kind of thing. Like, I think they had like some solid actors in there, but the writing was just like god awful. Yeah. James, what do you think? What were your first reactions?
I thought the movie was interesting. I think it was very. This is one of those movies, like, I want to kind of talk about it, but it's hard to talk about without spoiling anything, because, like, I've watched a lot of the trailers for this movie to, like, understand what we can say in this first segment, and a lot of the plot is, like, ambiguous, like, super, super ambiguous from all the trailers. of like what is even going on in this movie. But it's interesting the turn that it takes. Like I like the mystery aspect of this movie, if you know. And it's hard to talk about unless you guys understand exactly what I'm saying. That like more of what is going on kind of unfolds parallel to the like actual plot happening, which I thought was a very good beat of storytelling, and they used the world to tell a story very well. Which
Can I chime in?
Yes.
I agree with what you mean. Like, there's a lot of times where they just kind of like jump in, like not necessarily the middle of a scene, but they don't really give you the pre-context to what led to that moment. Like in the very beginning, when you first see them in bed, like they're talking about something that happened before you saw them, and you're kind of just like wondering like what, not really like too curious about like what just happened, because you can kind of draw conclusions, but there's a lot of that where it feels like you're just being thrown in the middle, and I do like that, but I think that's a good like tactic to use when there's actually something to uncover, and I didn't feel like this movie delivered on uncovering something that wasn't really there. So that's where I just struggled with it, because it got my hopes up high. I was really like trying to bite into it and like be invested and interested, but they never like punched it, sold it, and was like, yes, now we're.
You never thought they delivered on it. Like
Yeah.
they never actually delivered on what they were kind of trying to set up.
Yeah.
Joe, I think me and you are going to be like on the same page this whole podcast, because I literally felt the exact same way. Well, first off, I mean, we both had the same first exact note in our notes about the movie. But
another
second
note
off,
on the Joey and Kevin are the same person list. That I
yeah,
have
exactly.
there.
Check it off.
Second floor squad.
Weird. Yeah, but I thought the exact same thing, that like it had so much hope, and like I watched one trailer. I don't usually watch trailers like if you guys pick a movie, but since I was like, it was supposed to be like my movie, James recommended it, but I looked up the trailer and I was like, all right, that looks cool. I was like, that seems like it'll be a cool movie. And I really like John David Washington. I think he's really good. So I was like, cool, like this is going to be a solid movie. Well, it could be a solid movie. And then like, it just like, they didn't pan stuff out, or like they did, but in weird ways. And just was like super unfulfilling. Like I just was like, especially, and we'll talk about the end later, but like especially at the end, I was like, man. And like there were points where I was like, well, maybe it's got some like saving grace, but like I don't know. I think it just kind of fell flat. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Just like I stayed up I literally stayed up till midnight, or like 12:45. Which is like way past when I usually go to bed, and I was like, "Wow, what
Loser.
a waste!" Like, I know, it was like crazy. 12:30.
He stayed way past his bedtime. It was
Wild.
8:45.
I actually, but that's my own fault, because I stayed up. I was gonna watch the movie. Me and James and Nick were playing video games, and I was like, "All right, I got to jump off and watch the movie so that I don't go to bed late." But then I jumped off and watched that new Marvel show, That What If. I watched the last episode of that. Then I watched the movie. And I said I was only going to watch an hour, but I watched the whole thing. So, yeah, it just fell flat. Seemed like a waste of my time. I don't know.
It definitely seemed like I thought it was a, you know what I mean? I definitely don't think, I understand where you're saying it falls flat, and it feels more like a, they set up something that could have been very good and could have been a very good payoff of the movie and feel really satisfying. And it just, I thought it felt a little unnatural as well. But it was a weird progression of story and logic. But we can kind of get into that more as well when we kind of roll into the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's a good time to give our new format. We're giving our first reactions. We got a chance to double down or change it at the end. Joe, what did you think?
I'm gonna keep scrolling on this one. Nothing too unique, and I think there's better movies out there that I would recommend watching way before this one. James?
Definitely worth a watch. Definitely click play. I disagree, Joe, and I'm excited to feud in the second half of the podcast.
Definitely,
definitely, confidently, this is definitely worth a watch.
Okay, I'm with Joe. I'm telling people don't watch it. Keep scrolling. Like, it's not worth the 2 hours.
I will say that's the one pro of this movie is that it's under 2 hours. It's like a minute.
It's
It's an
under 2
hour
hours.
50.
It's
an hour 50.
But it's still 40 minutes too long, in my opinion.
an hour.
There's so
40,
many.
but yeah.
I
we'll
would
get
say
into
15
this.
to 20.
No, way more than that because there's so many, and we'll get into this. Please come back after the break because we'll get into this. But there's so many shots where it's like, why is this like?
Why are we
you
still
can
watching
cut this down. You can, nothing's happening.
Why am I watching this?
What
It's
is
like
this?
it's almost like at the end of the movie they were like, "Wait a minute, we didn't shoot enough. We only have an hour and 20 minutes of content." They're
Quick.
Have him run through a
Quick,
field.
run
Have him
through the
a
alley a
street.
couple times.
Run back and forth.
That's too funny. Yeah, but I'm hard scroll. So we're at 2 scrolls, 1 play, 1 very definite play.
confident play.
Confident.
We'll change that. We'll change
change
that
that,
by
yeah.
the end of this. We'll make
Press
James
F to
realize how
doubt.
fucking wrong he is. And yeah, join us after the break to see a more in-depth breakdown.